I'm Jenna Miles, 34 now, and here's the unvarnished truth. 8 years ago, I had a life that felt like a sunlit trail. Wild, open, mine. Back then, I was 26, fresh off a courthouse wedding with Nate, my college boyfriend who'd stuck with me through late-night study sessions and cheap ramen dates. He was a lanky guy with a crooked grin and hands that could sketch a temple or hold mine tight. And I was the dreamer. Curly brown hair, hazel eyes, always chasing the next horizon. We'd saved for a year to backpack through Myanmar, a honeymoon of dusty roads and golden pagodas. Then it all collapsed, literally, and the man I saved turned into the one who'd crush me. It was a muggy afternoon in Bagan, the kind where sweat sticks to your skin and the air hums with cicadas. We were poking around an ancient ruin, crumbling bricks, vines snaking through, Nate sketching in his notebook while I snapped photos, the ground warm under my boots. "This is it, Jen," he said, eyes bright. "Living the dream." I grinned, leaning into him. Then the earth growled, a low guttural rumble that turned my stomach to ice. "Nate, move!" I yelled as the quake hit, stones shaking loose above us. He froze, pencil dropping, and I lunged, shoved him hard toward the archway. A slab crashed down, pinning me as he stumbled free, dust and screams swallowing the world. I don't recall the pain at first, just waking up in a Yangon hospital, head thick, body wrong. My legs wouldn't move, paralyzed from the waist down, the doc said, spine crushed under that stone. Tubes looped from my arms, a beep steady in the haze, and a nurse with tired eyes squeezed my hand. "You're a fighter, Jenna! You got him out!" I rasped. "Nate?" She nodded. "Bruised, shaken. He's okay." Relief flooded me, then dread, sharp, cold, creeping up my chest. I'd lost my legs to save him, and back then, I thought that'd bind us tighter. We flew back to Boise, Idaho, a week later. Me in a wheelchair, him quiet, eyes dodging mine. He wheeled me into our duplex, a squat brick place we'd painted yellow, and muttered, "Christ, Jenna, you didn't have to play hero." I forced a laugh, throat dry. "Couldn't let you get squashed, right?" He nodded, fast, but wouldn't look at me. I figured it was shock. Hell, I was still spinning. My world flipped into a chair I hated, wheels creaking like a bad joke. The docs promised therapy, maybe a shot at walking someday, but for now, it was this. My best friend Leah showed up, all warm hugs and "we'll figure it out," her dark hair a mess from the wind. I clung to her words, trusted them, Nate too, like an idiot. A month in, the cracks showed. Nate's visits to my bedside dwindled, nights out, clearing his head, calls I made unanswered. I'd text, "Hey, you okay?" and get nothing. Leah was around more, cooking soup, adjusting my pillows. But something felt off, a snag I couldn't name. Then I saw it. Rolling out to the duplex porch after a PT session, there they were. Nate and Leah, pressed against his Jeep, her lips on his hands on her hips. My heart sank, a raw burn flaring fast. He caught my eye, stiffened, and said, "You're a burden now, Jenna. I can't do this." Leah looked away. I wheeled inside, grabbed my pack, clothes, our Myanmar photos, and bolted. 8 years later, that sting still bites. But it's the spark that shaped me. That kiss on the porch wasn't just a crack. It was the wrecking ball that smashed what little I had left. I rolled back into our yellow duplex. Ours, mine, whatever it had been. Head pounding, hands shaking on the wheelchair's cold rims. Nate followed, boots thumping the wood floor, Leah hovering behind like she'd been caught stealing. "Jenna, hold up," he said, voice tight, like he was coaxing a stray dog. I spun the chair, facing him, my throat a knot. "Hold up for what, Nate? You to tell me why my husband's kissing my best friend?" He winced, rubbing his neck, bruises from Myanmar still fading on his arms. Leah stayed by the door, eyes down, her dark hair a tangled shield I used to braid on lazy nights. "It's not what it looks like," he started. But I sliced through, voice hard. "Don't! I saw you! Don't bullshit me!" He sighed, heavy, and let it rip. "You're a burden now, Jenna. The chair, the therapy. This whole damn thing. I can't keep up. My chest burned, a hollow ache swallowing me fast. I saved your life, I said, slow, each word a shard. Got crushed so you could walk, and you can't keep up? He looked away, jaw clenched. I didn't ask you to. I'm sorry, Jen, but Leah, she helps me breathe again. Leah piped up, voice thin. It just happened. I didn't plan it. I laughed, raw and jagged. Right, accidents happen. The days after blurred into a fog. Nate packed that night, sketchbooks, jeans, his dumb travel mug, moved into Leah's place a block over, leaving me with the echo of his Jeep peeling out. I'd sit in the living room, staring at the faded Myanmar photos on the wall. Us grinning by a stupa, pre-quake, pre-everything. My legs useless under a blanket, tingling like they might wake up. Leah swung by once, all teary and fake. I'll still be here for you, Jen. Anything, she said, twisting her scarf like a lifeline. I waved her off, voice flat. Save it. She left, and I didn't hear from her again. Not for a while. Nate called a week later, curt. I'll cover rent till you sort it out. We're over. Click. No fight, no tears, just dust. The duplex turned into a tomb, silent, heavy, suffocating. Neighbors nodded from their lawns, pity in their eyes when I wheeled to the mailbox. But no one knocked. I'd lie on the couch, couldn't climb to our bed, listening to the hum of Boise traffic, feeling like a stranger in my own skin. One night, staring at a photo of Nate sketching me by a temple, I cracked. Tears hit like a storm, soaking my shirt, my whole body shaking. Not for my legs, those were gone, but for the man I'd loved, the friend I'd leaned on, both ripped away when I was already broken. By dawn, I knew I couldn't stay, couldn't rot in a shell of what we'd dreamed. I sold the duplex fast. $2,000 after the loan, a scrap for 5 years of us. Packed what I could, clothes, a chipped Buddha statue from Myanmar, my old camera. The rest, his sketches, her scarves, I left for the new tenants. A cab pulled up, driver a gruff woman named Pam, who didn't flinch at the chair. Where you headed? She asked, tossing my bags in. Portland, I said, voice steady for the first time since the quake. Anywhere but here. She grunted, helped me in, and as we rolled out, I watched that yellow box fade in the side mirror. My hands gripped the armrests, heart thumping with dread, and a flicker of something fierce. Freedom, maybe. Portland was my lifeline, a damp, buzzing city that didn't know my ruins. I landed in a cheap rental near the river, $2,000 stretched thin for a month, and a second-hand recorder. Nate and Leah could have their Boise bubble. I was done, but that hollow burn, it stuck. A quiet ember I didn't know I'd fan into a flame. They'd left me for dead, but I wasn't finished yet. Portland slammed into me like a wet gust, damp, gray, and alive enough to muffle Boise's ghosts. That first night in my rental, a musty one-room spot by the Willamette River, I sat by a cracked window, rain tapping the glass. My legs hung useless under a thrift store quilt, the wheelchair a stubborn shadow, and my $2,000 was already dwindling. Rent, a rickety table, a second-hand recorder with a scratchy mic. I'd ditched Nate and Leah, but their betrayal stuck like damp rot, a weight I couldn't shake. So I did what felt right. I talked. It started as a purge, a podcast episode recorded in the dark, voice rough as I spilled it all. Day 1. Lost my legs saving my husband in Myanmar. Day 60. He left me for my best friend. Day 61. I'm still kicking. I named it Fractured Ground, hit upload, and held my breath. Nothing polished, just me, raw and cracked, about a woman buried by stone and love, digging out. By morning, downloads ticked up. 10, 50, then a flood. Listeners chimed in. This broke me. You're a damn warrior. My heart raced. Someone heard me. I kept at it, recording weekly. Grief, rage, the small wins like wheeling to the river without crying. The audience swelled, thousands tuning in for the paralyzed girl who wouldn't fold. 6 months later, a publisher pinged me. Your podcast's a gut punch, Jenna. Memoir stuff. You game? I stared at the email, hands trembling, then typed, "Count me in." Stone and Silence dropped in 2031. Gritty, unfiltered, all me. It took off, hit bestseller lists fast, and suddenly I was cashing checks. $40,000, then six figures. I swapped the river rental for a chic condo downtown, all sleek lines and city views, my chair rolling smooth on hardwood that didn't creak. I owned it now, wheeled into cafes, recorder in my lap, talking while baristas stared like I mattered. Twitter turned into my soapbox. Day 523. Still here, still loud, I'd post, and the likes poured in. Thousands, then more. Jenna Unfractured spiked after I fired back at a hater. Say I'm finished, I'll prove you wrong. Say it, people loved it. Listeners, survivors, folks who'd been crushed too. A barista, Tara, started tossing me free Americanos at my regular haunt. "You're the podcast chick," she said one day, her short black hair catching the light. "Heard you online, tough as nails." I grinned, sipping. "Gotta eat somehow." She smirked, and we hit it off, her blunt warmth a cure for Leah's hollow promises. By 2032, I was 32, speaking at libraries and survivor meetups, my voice steady even when my back ached from sitting too long. Crowds filled rooms, hundreds leaning in as I unpacked the quake, the betrayal, the rise. "You don't need their eyes on you," I'd say, mic warm in my grip. "Yours are enough." An agent, Ellen, nabbed me after a talk in Eugene. "You've got steel, Jenna," she said, flipping her card with painted nails. "Let's go big." My second book, Rubble and Roar, sold for a hefty six-figure advance. I'd roll into events, fans waiting, some in chairs, some marked like me, saying, "You pulled me up." My chest burned, a quiet fire flaring. The wounds didn't vanish, though. I'd spot my reflection in the condo's glass, brown curls tamed, hazel eyes tougher now, and see the girl Nate ditched, the one Leah knifed. Success patched the gaps, but the sting pulsed, a faint hum under the winds. I'd replay my first episodes sometimes, those shaky early rants, and feel how far I'd climbed. Cash was sweet, condo sweet, but the real jolt was the strangers who clicked. "My wife left me broken too. You keep me going," one messaged. I'd write back, "You're stronger than you know, and feel it too." Nate and Leah were whispers now, rumors of them scraping by in Boise, his sketches unsold, her assurances worthless. I didn't dig, didn't care. I had my mic, my words, a life I'd chiseled from dust. But whispers turned to knocks, and mine were about to bang loud, louder than I'd steeled myself for. It was a chilly fall day in 2033, and I was in Seattle, signing copies of Rubble and Roar at a bustling bookstore downtown. The line snaked around shelves, readers clutching books, some with braces or haunted eyes, thanking me for lighting their dark. I was mid-signature, to Sam, "Keep roaring," when a shadow slid over the table. "Jenna!" That voice, rough, worn, too damn familiar, slammed me like a brick. I looked up, pen stilled, and there they were, Nate and Leah, side by side, looking like time had ground them down. He was gaunt, hair thinning, eyes dull. She'd lost her spark, dark hair flat, gripping a patched bag like it held her last hope. "What do you want?" I asked, voice steel, dropping the pen slow. The room quieted, heads turning. Nate shifted, hands jammed in his coat. "We need a word, Jen. Just a sec." Leah's eyes flicked, wet and shaky. "Please," she mumbled. I nodded to Tara, lingering close, and wheeled to a side nook, them shuffling behind like kicked strays. "Spit it out," I said, arms folded, Myanmar's dust still gritty in my memory. Nate coughed, voice ragged. "I'm out of work. Art market's dead. Leah sunk cash into some startup scam. Lost it all. We're busted, Jenna. Couch surfing since July." Leah jumped in, frantic. "We've got nothing left. We figured, you're doing good now, right? The books, the talks?" My jaw locked, a hot twist coiling in my gut. "You're here for money." Nate nodded, quick. "A loan, Jen. To get back on our feet. We were something once. I know I screwed up, but—" I laughed, sharp and cold, slicing him off. Screwed up? You ditched me paralyzed for her. Leah edged forward, tears streaking. I'm so sorry, Jenna. I didn't mean to break us. He was drowning. I reached out. Please, we're sinking. I stared, their pleas clawing old scars. The porch kiss, Nate's, you're a burden, her crocodile tears. You chose her over me, I said, low and firm. I took that slab for you, Nate, and you bolted. Leah, you were my rock, my sister, and you cracked me open. Now you're here because your gamble flopped? Nate's face hardened, a flash of the old him. I said sorry, don't drag this out. Drag it out? I snapped, loud enough to echo. I clawed up from zero while you two played lovers. You don't get to limp back when it crashes. Leah grabbed my sleeve, voice cracking. We'll die out there, help us! I pulled free, chair rolling back. Sort your own shit. You're not my load. Nate's eyes flared. You owe me. I'd be gone without you. I glared, then laughed again, icy. And I'd walk without you. We're finished. They wouldn't quit. Trailed me to the curb, begging as Tara steered me to the car. Just 500, Leah shouted, face streaked. I shut the door, told the driver, drive. Back in Portland, my phone blew up. Calls, texts. We're begging. You're cruel. I blocked them, hands steady, and tweeted. Some rubble stays buried. Sacked Jenna unfractured. It erupted. Retweets, claps, strangers cheering the ghosts I'd torched. I leaned back in my condo, city lights glinting outside, and felt the chains snap. They'd left me for dust once. I wasn't digging them out now. Dumping Nate and Leah felt like shedding a coat full of holes. Worn out, useless, done. I was 34 now, and my life was leagues from that yellow duplex in Boise. My condo in Portland was sharp and modern, all clean lines and tall windows with the city sprawling below, a view that punched me awake every day like a silent cheer. I'd roll out to the balcony some nights, fog curling around me, and just sit. No ex-husband griping, no ex-friend sniveling. Just me, my chair, and a world I'd stacked up from the ruins. Rubble and Roar was topping charts, film execs circling like hawks, and my bank account flashed numbers I'd never pictured. I'd blink at it sometimes, half waiting to wake up under that Myanmar slab, but the skyline said it loud. This was real. The scars didn't wash off, though. I'd catch my reflection in the glass, brown curls pinned back, hazel eyes steeled now, and see the woman they'd dumped, the one who'd hauled herself out anyway. My phone pinged constantly, listeners tagging me, thanking me for fractured ground, saying it held them up. One stuck, a woman named Mara, 28, paralyzed in a fall. Your voice kept me fighting, she wrote. I typed back. You're fiercer than you know, throat tight. It wasn't just my story now. Every episode, every gig was a lifeline for someone else. I'd gone from a whisper to a roar, and hell, people heard me. Nate and Leah? Word drifted in. Him scratching by on odd jobs. Her burned by more bad bets. Both stuck in some Boise dive with nothing but regrets to share. Their dream rotted. No cash, no spark. Just each other to curse. They'd quit calling after I blocked them, but I'd spot their names in junk emails. We're sorry, one more ask, and trash them without a flinch. Guilt nudged me once, late when the city buzzed. But then I'd hear Nate's, you're a burden, and Leah's, it just happened, and it melted away. They'd sown their field. I wasn't watering it. Tara rang one day, voice crackling with hype. You're trending again, Jen. Jenna Unfractured's blowing up after that rubble tweet. I chuckled, opening Twitter. Thousands of retweets, shouts like legend, and they don't own you. A guy named Paul wrote, my girlfriend bailed post-crash. You're my rock. I replied, keep standing, Paul. You've got it. The web wasn't just chatter. It was a window showing me what I'd forged from their wreck. Tara beamed when we met at her cafe. You're a force, she said, sliding me an Americano. Built this from nothing, damn proud. I grinned. Your brew got me started. She was solid. No games, just a friend who saw me, chair and all. The real gold hit at a talk last month. A Portland theater, 700 seats, packed tight. I wheeled on stage, lights blazing, and laid it bare. The quake, the betrayal, the rise. I didn't need their hands to lift me. I had mine, I said, voice firm. The crowd erupted, applause like a wave. After, a woman came up, late 30s, shy, with a cane. "I'm Lynn," she said, clutching my book. "Husband left when I got sick. You showed me I could rebuild." I signed it. To Lynn, unfractured, and watched her step off, chin up. My chest glowed, warm and deep. Every word I spoke, every room I filled, was a kick to the past and a boost for someone else. So here I am, 34, richer than Nate ever sketched, respected by strangers who feel like blood. I don't track them, don't have to. I've got my mic, my voice, a life that's mine alone. The best part? I proved I didn't need them. I turned their collapse into my climb, and every day I wake up knowing I'm whole, legs or not. That girl who broke for them? She's a storm now, and she's not slowing down.